So I got the generic feature pulled up here. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not supplying me with a great deal of information, but I got to go off of what I got. Thing is, it's kind of missing right now. So it seems like it's indicating a classic misfire. And if you look at the lambda value here, which should be 1, aperture ratio sensor, this is not an optional sensor. It's going to be an aperture ratio. This is just an interpretation. This should be, if it takes away, then it's taking away fuel. If it's adding, then it's adding fuel. Because with the aperture ratio sensor, lower is richer, higher is leaner. So I'm gonna put the, like right now, I mean it's not much because the system works off millivolts. I'm going to put it under its load with the AC on and see if the numbers continue to drop. What that's going to imply, minute indication that the coil or plug is going bad because it's unburned fuel present. I don't have, let me see here, I don't have long-term, short-term in here that I could probably interpret. And again, this is just interpretation. It's not, this is the generic feature, not the actual bidirectional portion. But I just have information here that I can somewhat decipher. So, all right. Let me put it on the load. Cut the AC on, and we're gonna look back at these numbers. So we do have fuel trim actually. Let me pull this up. So it's doing it. Yep, look at that. It's missing. You know, and in somewhat of a sense, I mean, it feels like it has like a lot of Freon in it, but this car is brand new, man. It shouldn't be having. It shouldn't have had any AC service. Let me see here. A stranger to give me a voltage though. Let me see here. So we got. I'm just gonna pull up everything I see that I think might be relevant, and probably regret it later. So I'm gonna pay more attention to the lambda value and the actual, actually said the output voltage down here. So if you notice, I don't know if you can hear it, but it did miss. Now the thing is, I'm trying to look at some of the things simultaneously, but I want to look at the extreme numbers, like at its high point. Like right now, short term is taking away 2%. These aperture ratio sensors work so rapid. Like it's doing it now. It's missing, which is, it's a long episode here. Still missing. I'm wait for it to happen again. So the thing is, like when it misfire, the sensor will have unburned fuel, and theoretically, what I'm assuming is doing it right now. So theoretically, what I'm assuming is going to happen, that unburned fuel will then clear up. That sensor is going to gather a reading, and that instance is what I'm going to look for. So once it starts missing, you have unburned fuel collecting the cylinder. Once it starts burning like normal, the trims are going to then alter. The short term is going to go back and start taking away fuel now because it takes a rich condition. Unlike ideal conditions like doing normal idle, like right now, it's close to zero. So if it's close to zero, as soon as it starts missing, you have unburned fuel. You have unburned fuel, and it starts working appropriate because the wideband, the aperture ratio sensor started compensating. That additional fuel is then going to start reading rich because it's currently unburned. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna wait on. So I'm just gonna wait on these episodes here, and I'm gonna formulate a game plan. But I just want to give you an idea of how I'm going to tackle this, being that I don't have a lot of information. I got where's the RPM? I got the RPM up here. Just to be on the safe side, I'm giving the car RPM, same load source as the AC, and I'm just holding around 1500 RPM, and it's been about 3 minutes. Nothing has happened. So I'm gonna make mental note of that. So again, the misfire only occurs down low, and it's like really pointing towards the defective spark plug. Thing is, spark plugs really don't go out like that. Either that, or if there's some grounding issue, not grounding, but I'm sorry, there's a defective coil. So and this is what I'm thinking, if it could be a defective coil. I haven't pulled anything out yet. So the boot could be ruptured. When the car is at low RPM, there's a longer spark event. So if there's a longer spark event, that spark has plenty of time to jump over an arc before it goes back through its cycle. I mean, we're talking about like milliseconds here. So assuming that this is a slow rotation, and we have like, the slow spark event, then under faster or more rapid RPM, there's more of a consistent spark going on. So you're less likely to experience a misfire. So that's why when you give it RPM, it clears up. But down low, during that long spark event, you have a misfire. So it's really starting to look like a spark plug. I'm going to put the oscilloscope to the coils, and maybe I can capture one of them. I'm hoping, because I don't know which one it is. So let's get hooked up. All right, got the oscilloscope hooked up. I have my ground lead, which is the red one. That's on the ground. I got my positive lead. Just kind of laying over there. You see another red tab. These are the positive ones here. I'm going to do a quick test. Basically, I got my time base set up, and I got on 20 volts, 20 milliseconds per division. I'm going to do a quick volt test, make sure everything's hooked up properly. Channel A is okay. Channel B is okay. All right, I'm gonna find my 12 volt first and get plugged in. I guess I'll try the easiest ones first, the number 1 and number 2 first. That's with a straight through piercing there. All right, so we're on 12 volt side here. So around here is where it started misfiring. I can feel it. These are fine. These are fine. As soon as it started misfiring, it seemed like both were affected. Huh. Strange. And you know what? If both of them were interrupted, let me see if because I mean, you can still essentially see the firing order, but I got number 1 hooked up. Let me see. Number 1 is going to be. Let me pull. Oh shit! Let me take a screenshot just in case. So I got a screenshot. I know my number 1 and number 2. because 1, 3, 4, 2 should be the last one. So that's typically the fire order. So 2 and 1 are side by side. Let me find out which one is 1, and we'll go back to the gallery. So let's start that over again. I'm gonna pull off 1, which is my red trace. All right, so red is 1. Now let's go to, look, it just did it again. Shit, and I missed it. Let's go to gallery. Let's see what we got though. So if red is 1, 2 is our last event of the firing. 1, 3, 4, 2. That's what it should be. Oh shit. Son of a bitch. Alright. Alright. 1, 3, 4, 2. 1, 3, 4, 2. Now, what I'm, whew, this is a tough one. So 1, 3, 4, 2. You have to forgive me because I'm not that bright. We see an interruption here around 1, 3, 4, 2. So it might be between 3 and 4, because 1 seemed to be okay. I'm just looking at the levels here. I haven't zoomed all the way in. Just want to see if we can narrow down the cylinder. You have to forgive me with the vibration. I know the engine is misfiring, but that's not where I want to go. Let's see if it'll. It's doing it real bad now. Cool. Let's zoom in. Okay, if high current ramps, meaning that there's not adequate discharge, then I would assume 1, 3 could be the culprit. So let's hook up on 3. So we'll leave 4 there, well 1, so we'll know where 1 start, and we'll hook up on 3. 1, 3, that's high. 1, 3, 1, 3, so that's still high. Let's hook up on 3. We're on 3 now. Let's see if I can zoom in. Probably make life a lot easier. So we're on 3 right now. 1 is our red trace. We're gonna wait for another misfire event and then we'll note it. Doing it now. What's that? So 3 is where we're at now. Let's zoom in on 3. Shoot, you know what? I need to probably change my scale because the voltage spike is what I need to find out. So my error, people, let's go to 100 volts. Let's go to 100 on this one also. All right, let's see if we can start over again. Damn, I'm still a little high. I might have to put an attenuator or something on here. Maybe. Let me see if I can do it again. Oh, look at that. What happened? What happened? I'm gonna snapshot this because what happened? Where's 3? That was a bad connection. Maybe I can change the scale, but I don't. Let me see here. Oh no. Sure, I could use those mathematical scales there, but I ain't too terribly familiar with those. This is why an amp clamp probably would definitely suffice right now. So I got my 3 channels hooked up. So I got the firing order somewhat, except for 2, 1, 3, 4. I don't have 4 hooked up. So I got 1 up there. There you go. Right there. I'm gonna stop it right there. So 1 is gonna be red, 3 green, 2 is going to be blue. So I just want to make it simple. We're gonna zoom in on the firing event here. This was, so I can get here. All right, so look at that. It's really pointing towards 3 now. Because remember, this one had the significant spike. 1, here's 1. Let me zoom back out. 1, 3, 4, 2. So this is going to have fire order. Let me find the discrepancy. 1, 3, 4, 2. Cool. All right, let's zoom in. Three is really looking like the problem child here. If you look at that spike, go back out. Look at that. Let me go out. Hold on. So if you look, this is 3. So if you look at that collapse there, in comparison to all the other ones, it's questionable, but it is more significant than the others. The only thing I'm noticing, the problem with the problem child, is that during this hump here, this ramp, it seems to be still high. So there could be an issue with the with the coil being that it's firing, issues with voltage, issues with supplying voltage to fire the coil because it's just inefficient. Let's go to the other. This one, that's 1, 3, that's 2. Let's go back out. Look how high that ramp is in comparison to all the other ones though. I mean, that's why it makes me think like 3 is really gonna be our problem. What I could do, let me get one more. Let me get one more. Okay, so these are normal conditions right here. No misfire. We're gonna zoom in right on these. So these are normal. Look at 3, it's normal. No, I'm sorry. 1, yeah, that's 3. 1 is red, 2. 1, I'm confusing myself, I'm so sorry. So 1 is red, 3, 4, 2. So these are completely normal. This is how a normal event's supposed to look. You don't have that significant hump here during the firing cycle. So just make note of that. So we're missing. Let me see if I can get another one. If it does it again and then we find that high ramp, we're just gonna go straight to 3. Pull that out. There you go. There you go, right there. Look at that. Look at it. That's obvious. Look at 3 is gonna be the problem right there. That is so obvious. There's something going with that coil. I tell you what, this is a free replacement without me shooting apart at it. I'm gonna swap the coil and see if the problem follows the issue. So we're gonna pull 3 out and swap it with 2. We'll do that. I don't know if I want to pull the spark plug out, but I just don't want to disturb anything. But at the same time, it'd be pretty wise to go ahead and investigate while I'm in here. Damn, it's hot. It's running for a while. So I'm gonna put a question mark on the culprit, the one that's suspected, and we'll be able to keep track of that. So this is the one suspected here. So I'm gonna investigate the boot, make sure the boot's not torn on the side here. Look at that, look, wow. Boo, yeah, look at that, bam. Look at that, this is got to be, this is gonna be, oh shit, focus. Look at that, look at that, look at that. That's arcing right there. That's exactly what that is. This coil is too new to be going out. This is too new, look at that. Let me see if I can zoom in on inside of it. This is arcing. That's why, like I said, I mean, it makes perfect sense. This should not like become inefficient down low. I mean, the car is, if it misfire really hard up top, like while driving, it's going to be a coil. If it misfire down below while driving, while idling under load, art, it's a misfire or a defective spark plug. Man, I am the shit right now. Like, seriously. So, let me pull out the other one and show you how a good one looked like since it wasn't misfiring. So here's the number 2 that wasn't misfiring. Looks perfectly fine. I mean, I feel so confident right now. I'm not even gonna even buy a spark plug or anything. We just need to put a boot on this joker and we are good to go. So let me see if my parts store has one available, because this looks pretty unique. You know, I literally got to thinking, I might be wrong on something. So I need to take the plug out and inspect it, because it logically doesn't make sense that this will just only be the culprit when it could be. Well, let's gonna be on the safe side. Let's take the plug out and inspect it. Hold on. Do you have a boot for it? Yeah, full boot. About it, I'm on the phone. All right, so real quick before you come back, there's compression obviously seeping through this plug here. Yes, it's got like 70,000 miles, but I'm not going to worry about changing it because these plugs should last 100,000, and there's no obvious defects around the porcelain here which will cause that arcing. So my place got a coil in stock. I'm gonna go pick that up. We'll retest it and see what we got. Got back and we got our brand new coils, the standard product from O'Reilly. So we're gonna see what this looked like on the oscilloscope. Also, and this is it. Put a little bit of dielectric grease on here, just a little bit. Yeah. Well, let's start it up. All right, you got the same load on. We're gonna turn on the oscilloscope and see what is going on with that. Why am I even in that part of it? Let's take a quick look at the firing event now, being that we have a new aftermarket part on here. Again, this should be one, was it 1, 2, 3, but the firing event is going to be 1, 3, 4, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 3, 4. I'm sorry. 1, 3, 4, 2. Let's see here. So yeah, let's look a lot better. Look a lot smoother too. I don't even have a low pass filter on it. So this looks a lot healthier. I mean, it's so much smoother than it was before. Let's look at the old one. See, even the number 1, which is older coil, look pretty rigid. Let's go to number 2. This is, a little questionable. But as far as rigidity, I mean, it's, I mean, just from the outline, it looks smoother. It looks a lot smoother. So I'm gonna let this joker idle for a while. Idle while. Let's see if I can. Nope, that's not gonna work. Go overhand. I'm gonna let this idle for a while, and I think we should be. All right, everything seems to be fine. I've been running for a couple minutes, no hiccup. About 2 minutes is there. Really hasn't been running that long. I mean, you can look at the timestamp down there. So, and it has not missed a beat at all. I mean, no abnormalities in the voltage, in the waveform. I'm going to call it a successful repair. So again, I mean, the reason why I had to pull out the oscilloscope was because the Autel didn't supply any type of misfire data. Let me try to log in with that. It didn't even read the VIN number when I made an attempt to log in bidirectionally. So let me just show you. So it'll read part of it, but then when I go to OK, it's not decoded. All right, so it's been about 20 something minutes. It's 28 after 12 right now, and the car has not had a hiccup since. So we took the oscilloscope, utilized that as a diagnostic tool, which is what it's for, connected to the 12-volt side, and was able to look at the ignition event. Found that the number 3 coil was questionable. Removed it, inspected, because we were going to swap it out. Found that it was obvious that the spark was arcing because of the buildup. It usually just shows that soot build up on the coil. It'll have like a pinhole size generally. It don't take much for electricity to arc through something. I mean, it just needs a small pathway and it's gone. Other than that, swapped it out with a new coil. The actual events look a lot better. They're smooth, no more misfires. We saw one that is kind of questionable, which is probably number 2 cylinder coil, which might be going out in the near future. Other than that, if you look for any misfires, it's a possibility that it's about to cut off. Sorry, my stand tool. So if you're looking for misfire, you can utilize the fuel trims as a diagnostic tool. And I know I did an old video, but maybe it was lacking clarity. But the fuel trims in regards to this particular case, the aperture ratio sensors are a lot more responsive than oxygen sensors. When we saw the actual misfire event occur, it did try to take away fuel, so the short-term fuel trims went negative, and it wasn't nothing significant because the event wasn't prolonged for a substantial amount of time. But we still saw when it happened, it wanted to take away fuel. Why it wanted to do that was because unburned fuel will cause rich conditions. So if you're not familiar with aperture ratio sensors over oxygen sensors, you need to know that everything's basically flipped around except for the long-term, short-term fuel trims. So low numbers with the aperture ratio sensor indicates rich numbers. High numbers indicate lean conditions. Low numbers, rich. High numbers, lean. And the stoichiometric, the lambda value of 1 should also be taken into consideration. So I just try to get as much information you can when it comes to diagnosing these with the aperture ratio sensors, or better yet, know what sensors on there. And yes, I'm aware that the PID data on the generic features showed oxygen sensor, but the values were that of a aperture ratio sensor. I don't think I have any more information other than that. This car is fixed. I mean, I don't think anything else can go wrong. So I think we're good. Like I said, the car's been running for several minutes, working fine. I guess if I had to give my opinions on this motor, I'm not a big fan of it because it has like an overwhelming amount of plastic, but I digress. Hey, anything can happen. This car could tear up, the car could break, this car could, this coil from O'Reilly's could just go out and make me just look completely look ashamed. Like I don't know anything. Hey, I am the most ignorant person I know, but hit that subscribe button, stay informed, have that reassurance in my work, and so on to the next one.